Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time to, carve out your busy schedule to attend this lunch and learn with us. I have the pleasure of introducing Greg Swallow. He's from Knowledge Sync, and he's going to spend some time today to talk about Sage Alerts and Workflow and how it might be a good solution for your business. So I'll go ahead and pass it to you, Greg, and let you get started.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Really do appreciate your time. Really quick, we got 30 minutes together. So, at the end of this, if I've sparked some ideas for you, reach out and we'll do this slow, go through it methodically about your business, making the events bespoke to you so it makes sense to you. But we're just going to really start with, in a course of a week, a month, or what have you ever said, geez, if we'd only known we could have saved that customer experience, we would have known that we were out of stock on inventory, we would have known that our customers were overdue when we took that order, that we have POs waiting for approvals. Anything that goes on within your application, within your business process from order to cash, you want to monitor and you want to know what's going on. So if things have happened in your business and you said, geez, if I don't only known we could have solved that, here's the product for you. So the challenges of forms delivery, right? So there's all kinds of forms that we're generating in our application. It's quotes, it's invoices, it's statements. Someone's responsible for generating them. Someone's responsible for moving them to the recipient, the person who's going to consume that information. Who does that? Can we have a software do that so that we know that when we post the order, the order confirmation goes out to the customer, the invoice gets created, the invoice goes out to the customer. Maybe we want to tie it into SurveyMonkey, so when we send an invoice, we go, hey, how did you like the experience with this? If you're tracking NPS scores, right? We want to send out statements in 30 days, 60 days. When the statement goes out at 60 days, do you want to just send it to the customer? Do you want to copy in the salesperson? Do you want to copy in finance? When it gets to 90 days, do you want to copy in finance, put them on credit hold, and copy in the sales manager, right? That's a workflow that happens with data, and we can use the software to generate that and do it. Do you have exceptions management, right? Lots of orders are processing through your business. Fantastic. But what happens when one of your customers says, hey, I don't have a fork truck. I need you to pocket in boxes less than 50 pounds. If that doesn't get caught and you send a skid to your customer, all of a sudden you've got a bad customer experience because he called out, I need it in less 50 pounds. You didn't notice it, right? So that's an exception. Or maybe you need payment up front, or maybe the customer requires drawings to go through, or maybe there's special licensing or tags that have to happen to get that order processed or that machinery to get in place. Those are exceptions. If they're called out at the beginning of the cycle of the order, let's track those to make sure that throughout the life cycle of that order internally, that everybody is aware of it. Do you have time responses that you're dealing with, right? Because orders coming in, we got order by date, ship by date, canceled by date, confirmed date, completion date, whatever that date is. Who's responsible within your organization to track it, and what happens when they're on PTO, right? So let's use the software to notify you. At the beginning of the week, generate out, tell me what's got to ship this week. Tell me what's got to ship this date. What did we promise, right? What are the requirement dates? And that requirement could be payment needs to be received before shipment. 90% of the cash got to be inbound before we send the product out, and 10% in 30 days. Whatever the business rules are that you've established with your customers, let's monitor and confirm that they are correct, right? Then you've got threshold monitoring. What's the threshold that you look for? Number of calls a day, number of orders a day, number of shipments today. What is the scenario? What, quantities on back orders? Is it past two amounts can't be greater than X? Is shipping charges can't be greater than X? Total sales, totaled out to. Whatever that threshold that you're monitoring, we can use the software with the application to monitor those for you. So you don't have to worry about it. But when you do fall outside that, you're going to get an alert saying, hey, look, you didn't do what you would ask the software to do or in the business to do. So now it gives you the opportunity to make changes. You will find this out at the end of the week or the end of the month. But again, if only you had known, you could have solved that problem up front, further up in the pipe, if you will. And then we got assignments and approvals, right? Orders come inbound, but I need a bill of material created. I need a purchase order created for subcomponents of that. Who's responsible for generating that, proving that because it's over X dollars, and then making sure that that all happened in a meaningful amount of time, whether it be I need it today, I need it in 24 hours. If it doesn't happen, notify me again, right? So we're using the software to politely nudge people to do what they're supposed to do to get things moving forward into it. Send drawings, send WMIS reports, whatever the scenario is, using assignments and approvals in the software to make sure things are getting done. And then enterprise-wide auditing. So if I took a snapshot of your customer base right now, is the credit limit associated with each customer correct? If I ran a report and showed me all the different customers that you had, what they've got outstanding, what credit limit you've extended to them, does it line up? Does it make sense? Do you have the right customers assigned to the right sales rep, to the right territory, right? So that's an important thing. So whatever the scenario that you put in, we can look at that database, pull all that information out, and make sure it aligns with the way that you think. Remember, your single point of truth has got to be your application. If we've got wrong information, that's where the challenges lie. And then reports distribution. We live on reports, right? All day long, you're generating AR payment reports, cash on hand, discount levels, whatever that report that you want to generate out. Who's responsible for generating them? Who's responsible for getting them to the person that consumes the data? And is that one report sent to 3 different people who have to go through that report and then itemize what's actually important to them? Instead of delivering the haystack, let's just deliver the needles. So if finance need information to consume in one format, shipping needs information to consume in another format, billables in another format, let's give them the data that they need to do their jobs without having to give them all the cloudy stuff around it so they can pull it out. So using the software to deliver those reports, right? So at the end of the day, giving my AR aging report, giving my cash on hand report, giving me a report that shows me how many shipments are going out today or have gone out today, and how many orders did we get today. Those are the 4 things that I want to know. Send that information to me. Send it by an email, send it by an SMS, give it to me as a pop-up on my screen. I need to consume this information. In the current world, I have to go digging for it. Now it's coming to me, to my desktop. And then data cleansing. Here's a great one, especially if you're doing SKU numbers and every 10,000 you start recycling SKUs again, right? Let's make sure we don't have duplicated information within our system. Let's make sure that our information is accurate within it. So do we have all the emails that we need, or are they correct? One of the things, because people move around a lot, people win lotteries, what have you, do we have multiple contacts for each one of our customers and each one of our vendors? So if I ran a report and said, hey, you only have one contact for this customer, that customer wins the lottery, who are you going to deal with, right? You've got to start the whole cycle over again. So let's make sure, let's put a min level on it. Let's want to have 3 contacts for each customer, each vendor that we deal with, right? So that if someone does move on, there's 2 other contacts within there. Data cleansing will allow us to look at the database and know that information. Do we have orders with missing components? Do we have SKU numbers not correct, or repeat SKU numbers, right? Anything that you would want to know that's correct within your system, we can use the application to pull forward, deliver to you in a way that you can consume it and make business decisions on how to correct that. Then inactivity detection. This is important, right? If I look at it from a sales point of view, from my perspective, all day long, my comp plan is based on new customer ads, right? I'm highly incentivized to sell new customer ads, but I have a territory with hundreds of customers in it. And truly, it's the ones that's squeaky wheel gets the grease, that need help right now, that I'm always reacting to a customer, reacting to a partner, if you will, but I'm not proactively talking to my customers because everything's fine with them. Well, is it really fine with them? Is my competitor sneaking in there? Am I losing sales volume, right? So inactivity detection allows me to say, how many customers do we have how many customers haven't been touched in the last 90 days or 60 days or whatever that cycle it is? Show me the orders that that customer has ordered in the last 12 months, 24 months. Give me the cadence of those orders of when they order. Does a pattern show that they always order these same SKU numbers at this quantity over the every 6 weeks? Is that a pattern that's starting to be exposed? Now, what happens if that pattern changes? That pattern is they've ordered less units, if you will, of that SKU number, or they've ordered more units of that SKU number. They've added a new SKU number, or they've detracted a new SKU number. Those are buying signals that you as a salesperson needs to know, because there's a change in the buying habits. If they've ordered more, maybe they've expanded their line, salesperson call, hey, I see you've increased your order volume. Maybe there's another item that you could sell as a complementary solution along with what you're already selling, right? Or maybe if it's less, then what's happened? Oh, that line we're grandfathering that product, or we're moving it to a new product, right? Those are information that the salesperson can get by using inactivity detection of what's going on. Another source of it's look at your inventory. If I said in a cycle of your inventory, and think of inventory as nothing but cash, it happens to be sitting there. So you've got shrinkage, damage, obsolescence going on. As longer that product sits in your warehouse, you're dealing with those things. So if I ran a report and showed me all the products that haven't moved in the last 6 months, right? What am I sitting there? What's my cash doing over in my warehouse? Run me a report that all the customers who use those products, cross-reference them, give them to sales and marketing and say, look, let's run a promo, 10% off, 15% off, whatever it is. And so that we can then smooth that order. We know that a cash in the bank is going to earn us 5%. So if we can, have to discount it, get that cash up front, that helps us move our business forward, and we're not sitting on debt and obsolescence, right? So inactivity detection is a way to use the software. And then anytime, anywhere alerts. When we install the software with your package, we're going to start out with 110 different alerts. These are generic, designed by the industry, by customers like yourselves to build this. And it's a starting block, but it's not the end block. You can take those, copy them over, make them absolutely bespoke to you, the way that you want to run your business. These alerts will happen. But I don't want all these alerts coming to me all the time. So let's take, the 10 alerts that I'm going to get today, and I want those all the time. They're coming into my system. That's great. I'm getting the information I want. I'm moving forward. But I want to take some PTO. I want to go off with the family. So, but really what's important to me, what's our cash on hand? What's our AR aging report? Those are the two. Send those to me in my personal email. Send the other 8 to my manager, to my team. So they're still getting that information when I'm out of the cycle, but everyone, we're still moving forward with it. So we want to use the anytime, anywhere alerts as we're setting these up, so that information is being shared whether I'm in or out of that cycle. And then triggered updates. What are all the triggers that are going on? Certainly moving from order entry, inventory controls, account payable, accounts receivable. Those are triggers as it moves through the modules. But there's other triggers that happen. So if a client's overdue, send them change the credit status. Maybe we want to monitor that thing. If an item's below minimum level, create a PO or create a bill of material, right? So there's all kinds of triggers that you can decide that we want to generate information out to. Quotes is an important one. Quotes, show me everything that's going to expire this week that we've quoted out. And why that's important? Because we don't know our landed cost on the subcomponents that we're using for our solutions right now. So we got to say, this is based on our inventory level right now. This is the price that we're selling it for you. Mr. Customer, if you don't order now, we're going to have to requote you. Odds are that quote's going to be higher due to exterior circumstances. And so here's an opportunity to order it now this week, get it with this price. So it's an opportunity, expired quotes that are going out there. All those types of things are types of triggers. You can create your own scenarios, if you will, and pull them through. So quick overview of the software that it comes with it. When we install, there's really 3 components of it. There's an alerts module that starts out not sending out those alerts. But I want reports. It could be a crystal report, could be an SSR report. That generation of report, because I want give me all these details, and I wanted to send it as a report out to my vendors or to my customers, or to internalize that information. They want it in a paper-based format. But other people say, take that information, drive it as a CSV file into this database, have a SQL statement, push it into that. So they want it into that workflow, into another part of that business. There's different ways to install it and deal with the software. So you can just start out with the alerts, just sending out those different alerts. But if you want to do attachments, add information to it, we want to add the reports module. If you want to do more with that, push it to something else, and tie it into those APIs, if you will. So we're talking SurveyMonkey when I send out that invoice. When I'm doing an order inbound or cash on hand, I want to naturalize it to the US dollar. So whether I sold it in Canada or sold it in Mexico, at that moment, I'm going to hit a board and do a bring it in as a naturalization to the US funds. So there's all kinds of different ways to use the software. So I'm going to excuse me for 1 sec because I have to stop sharing, and then I'm going to reshare another screen, which will bring it up this way. So this is the actual project. So at the top here, you got a URL. That's the URL that you're going to use. It's going to be part of it. So anyone with your organization can use the software. It's set up with a series of events, monitors, and administration. So the administration is certainly the setup component of it. The monitoring is because it's a set it and forget it software. When everything's up and running, you want to know that it's actually doing its thing. So we've got two things. You can go in here and look at it, but if it's not doing its thing, it actually has a watchdog, which will send you an alert and saying, hey, I need some love here. Something's happened. So everything starts with an application events. And notice here, I've got it set up with 3 different databases, right? The Sage 100 SQL, Providex, and then Sage 300 SQL. It's licensed by database connections. So you start out with one database connection, you add the second, third, and fourth. When you get to the fourth one, you're going to get an unlimited license. From there on, you can add any databases you want. So if you're offering, if you're connecting to Office 365, you want to monitor your inbound email coming in for orders by support, looking for information, whatever that keyword that you want us to monitor with the inbound, we're going to look for that and then send out an alert that this is happening, or this is needed, if you will. You may want to use our email response system where you need a shipment date. So you have information within the application, you send it to an employee or team member that you have saying, update this information. It could be the shipping name, the shipping time, the trailer that you're using. It could be the product code. That information is then written back into the application so that no one's interacting with it. You're using emails to do that. So that's a connection. If you're running a warehouse management system, if you're running an inventory advisory system, if you're running any of the other solutions around that are database related, those become databases and we connect to it. It all starts out with a system of connection to it by module within the application. So if I look in the AP module, here's all the queries that I'm going to start with. These queries, and I'm going to pop this open here a little bit further. These are the ones that we're going to start with you in the module, if you will, in the accounts payable. So in accounts payables, order dues for payments, what do we want to look at? So when we look at the database, and if you're familiar with the application, every application has a series of tables. These tables, these are exactly your tables. We haven't made up anything. We're just taking a snapshot of the tables. We take those tables and we look at inside them, what the data is that resides inside each one of these tables, right? So I've got AR open invoice and AP vendors. These are what I can select from in it. As I'm doing the selection, I'm creating an event. So this is what's going on in the background. I'm selecting these out. Here's the 10 information that I want from my database to come in my alert. This is the type of information I want. Once I've selected the tables, the columns within those, I then preview and say, okay, show me the information that I just wanted to have for this. So now I'm going out to the database, pulling that information forward. If all works out fine, I'm going to get my overdue for payment information pulling forward. Anytime I can look at the SQL tables. So if you're familiar with SQL, right? You can go through, and let me just cancel this for a sec. I can go through and pull SQL information. So some people are comfortable in writing SQL scripts, right? So this is what's being written in the background. At any time, I can edit this. I can manually go in and edit this information if you're comfortable within it. But if not, let's not go there. You'll confuse the issue more than anything. But each one of these modules, if you will, so we'll go in accounts payable, same sort of thing. We're going to look at queries. Okay. And here's my queries that are going on within accounts receivable. Let's take this, pull that down there. So we have, accounts with X balance of Y, accounts all, accounts no activity in X days. So show me accounts that haven't ordered anything in the last 90 days, right? Accounts on credit hold, accounts with open amounts greater than, pick a number, X and Y are numbers you associate with it. So you add information as you're going through here to make it very detailed what you want. Balance in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You decide whatever this information is that you want in it. Again, if I go into this motion of give me all my customers all, I pick my AR customers. I say this is what I want. We go in selecting these 4 tables as my criteria. I make one of them unique, which is going to be the customer number, and then I run preview, right? And it goes in, pulls the information from it. Once I get the information pulled through the system, and I can wait for a sec, but I won't. I want to go into my applications events, and I'm going to do a couple different things. I'm going to build, once I get my query, I'm going to build my event. So my event is going to be, let's just take anyone. It's going to be a series of different things that I want to happen. What's the event? What am I going to schedule? And that schedule would be built on a value, right? So I can put it, I want this event to trigger and send to me once a day, once an hour, once every 5 minutes, whatever that scenario is that you want to consume the data. You set it up here and determine what that data is going to be sent and how it's going to be, who's going to receive it. I'm going to send a deliverable. My deliverable can be an email because the person wants to consume it as email, or it could be an SMS and they're going to consume it by SMS because the person that I'm sending it to is never at their desk, right? So they need to know this is the shipment's coming in, the shipment's going out, this order needs to be processed. I could webcast it. So in the back of my shop, I've got a monitor set up, and that monitor is seeing all the new orders coming in or all the orders that are going to be shipped today, right? That could be useful just to look up and see it. Or I want to create an action. So that's my workflow. I want to create a file. I want to submit a SQL. I want to push it to a web API. The data I want to be sent as a report. I want to embed it as an email. I want to send it as a file, or I want to send it as a chart. All right, so there's a way to do that. And then who's the recipient? So I create a standard recipient. I want to add a name to it or a group to it. So if I want it distributed out to finance, or if I want it distributed out to the global settings or people in shipping, I can make them a group and send it to that group, or I can send it to an individual. Emails can be sent to both internally and externally of the organization, so there's no cap on who receives it and at what variance or cadence do they receive that information going forward. So you can do it to your customers, your vendors, your internal employees, sharing that information. What's cool is that if someone who's responsible in your organization now is doing this and they go on PTO, that exercise stops. The software continues to run in the background as your invisible assistant. Just keep pushing that information out based on modules. Again, we move into, once we've got all that through, we look through, when's it supposed to happen, who was the email delivery, and all this information of when it was scheduled. All that goes through into the next, through the process. So you can see what's pending, what's sent, what's errored out, what's been a webcast, what reports have been added to it, so you can have a series of different reports that are associated with it. And that's where I talked about down here is the watchdog. So this is because it is that set it and forget it. What do you want us to watch? What do you want us to do? And if something goes wrong, like an alert didn't get sent, the watchdog will send you an alert saying, hey, there's a challenge. What's the challenge? Server rebooted, it didn't start up. Email is not correct, right? Because that person that was set up in the system is no longer with the application. IT got rid of the email address. Those are different scenarios that we deal with. So that's basically the software. It takes about an hour to install, gets up and running to it. So you just, whatever your underlying database is that we connect to, select a couple of events to get going with. As I say, each module that is opened up has a series of different ones. So you don't need to fire them all off at the same time. Select which ones that are important to you to get going with, right? These are the ones that were the business decision to acquire the software. Let's get those going to get the ROI that you were looking for. And then you will find as more and more alerts go out in your system, you'll have people coming to you and say, I like that information, but if you could just add these fields to it, or could I get other type of information from you to help me do my job? You'll find that happens, and slowly but surely you'll take that 110 different events and you'll blow that over 200 different events that are possible to come from the application. So tying into both the application, whether you've got it on a SaaS, right, software as a service, whether you're on a desktop, whether you're on Azure or AWS, wherever you're deployed is the application we're deploying with that along the way. And I think that's about all I got to tell you right now, Andrew. So if you want to take it back, that runs out to our time. It's 12:28.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Greg. You did a great job of kind of doing a deep dive into all of that. So if there are any questions, we can take a couple minutes, and we will also be sending out this recording too, so you guys can review anytime you'd like.
A couple
And
of
if
things,
no,
and while they're typing it in or asking the questions, is it takes about an hour to install. It's up and running. Your access to your IT person, because we need your systems administrator type level person to do the install. Once it's installed, the education of how it works really takes about a tutorial in about an hour, but then it's encouraged that you play with it to get it up and running. It is a client server install, so it's licensed to the application. It's not licensed by user. So it installs that way, and then anyone within your organization can use it and be a recipient of it.
awesome.
Right.
Well, if there's no questions immediately, we can go ahead and wrap this up. But Greg, thank you again so much for your time. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to Falana or myself, and we'll get you reconnected with Greg as well.
Perfect. Thanks very much, guys. And thanks everyone for their time today.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thanks.